Hello everyone, my name is Christian Summers and I'm a fourth year biology pre-dental major from Dallas, Texas. And today I'm gonna reflect on my interview with my grandpa who had throat cancer. So I interviewed him this past week and I called him over the phone due to COVID protocols. I wanted to make sure he was safe and I didn't want to go over to his house because he lived in DC. So of course I interviewed over the phone and we talked, we had a great talk, and I didn't know he had cancer at all. But my mom told me not. I called him, asked him about it. Turns out he had throat cancer back in 2008 and is a survivor. He's going on 12 years now. He's a survivor of it. So hearing he had this like I said, hearing that he had this type of cancer was very shocking information to me. And it was very interesting to see how he went through this process. So I asked him when he was diagnosed and at what age, and he said he was first diagnosed at age 71 and back in 2008. And he said it felt like a sore throat at first. He didn't know he had cancer, but it turns out that his left voice box, felt raspy after like a month. And he's like, yeah, something's wrong. So he then went to his primary care physician and they performed a CAT scan, and it turns out there was a big mass cell on his left vocal cord. So he's like, wow, he was shocked. So turns out he was diagnosed with stage 1 stage 1 throat cancer, and luckily he did not leave the place of origin. So I asked him what was his first initial thoughts when he first received the news, and he said at first he felt stressed and frightened because he was afraid that he wasn't going to be able to talk or speak again, because if the cancer had spread throughout different parts of his body, it could be life-threatening, and of course he wouldn't be able to speak. But luckily the physician had told him that it did not spread, it wasn't going to spread, and he then felt a sigh of relief and he felt grateful and just was ready for the treatment process. So I asked him as well, is there a family history of throat cancer? And he said no. Luckily, there's not. He was just a heavy smoker back in his 50s and late in his early 60s. He said he would smoke a pipe a lot, like a majority of the time. So then I asked him about his treatment process, and he said there's two options: radiation treatment or surgery. He said if he did the surgery option, that there would be no going back to the radiation treatment, and that it would be permanent. If the cancer would not go away, it would be permanent. So he did option 1, which was radiation treatment, and he said he had a total of 38 treatments, and that the radiologist he went to had a total of 38 total treatments, which means 38 days of going to the radiologist, and the radiologist made a plastic mesh for him and strapped him down on the table with that plastic mesh. The plastic mesh is basically like a plastic bodysuit that you put on to protect yourself from radiation. And he said the radiologist would mark that spot in his lungs where the cancer mast cells were at, and the radiation would hit that spot every time. And the radiation would last for 45 seconds to a minute. And if the cancer doesn't appear in your body within 5 years, that means the cancer was gone. But he officially was clear of the cancer on April 15th, 2009. Every time every time he underwent the treatment with the radiation, he stated that he felt weak from the radiation. He said one time he was out on a golf trip with my dad one time, and he just felt weak from the radiation treatment from the day before. So he said that was one of the many cons of the treatment. But other than that, he said the radiation was quick and painless. And also he said one time he had a blister on his neck from the radiation. But other than that, it was quick and painless. But it was very interesting to hear this from my grandpa. And luckily, there's no family history from this type of cancer. But no, I really liked this interview, and I feel like I really got a great understanding of how he felt through the whole process of obtaining cancer and how he handled it. And I'm just grateful that he's doing alive and well, and he's really healthy right now. Thank you all.